Hey folks, this is Matt once again. Got done watching Rebel, which is on YouTube, which is an hour and 20 some minutes that I cannot get fucking back. I saw a porn movie with Stallone called The Italian Stallion, and that was more fun to watch. Granted, I got blind half the time from seeing Stallone's pasty ass and Italian sausage, but that was an hour long, and it had a lot of what the fuck funny moments, and that's better than this movie. Now, originally this film was called No Place to Hide, but then it was recut and re-released as Rebel when Stallone got more popular. And that's the one I saw. I don't even know if the original version, No Place to Hide, is available anywhere. I think it's just Rebel. And someone actually took this movie, and in 1990, they re-edited it again into a comedy, and they released it as A Man Called Rainbo, which is on YouTube, so I might watch that sometime when I get to the 90s Stallone movies. So that has to be better than this. This movie is just insanely fucking boring. It takes place in New York in the late 60s. Stallone, pretty much before First Blood, it's him walking alongside the road, hitchhiking, except here he has a floppy hat, and he's not a Vietnam vet, he's pretty much a hippie. And he joins this group of people who are politically motivated, and they're going to bomb this office skyscraper because they're doing business with people overseas that deals with tiger cages. But their cages meant they're going for human beings. These big cages, not only for POWs or refugees or whatever overseas, but apparently also to be used here in the U.S. Granted, we never really find out all that happens with that part of it, but that's the reason why they're doing it. And they contact this known terrorist, this female, known as the Black Bomber, because she's black. They call her the Black Bomber. The FBI hears about this, and then they have a person in there, sort of a mole, and they listen in on conversations. Meanwhile, Stallone, at the beginning of the film, meets this girl who makes jewelry, falls in love with her. She gives conversations about how, peace and, God changes things. You can't change anything with violence. And Stallone going, well, someone has to do something. If you want to sit there and think something will happen without doing anything, you're wrong. And this film offers nothing to the viewer. It offers nothing to anyone watching it. It's terribly boring. It's horribly slow. Even for an hour and 20 minutes, it felt very long. That's a 4.8 out of 10 IMDb, and that's way too high. The only positive I can say is you get to see an early role by Sylvester Stallone. And yeah, he's rough around the edges, but there's moments that work with his character, Jerry Savage. Mainly one scene where he's talking with the girl he fell in love with, as Stallone is going on with, you know what, you lie, you cheat, you rip it, you break it off. This is what you do. And then she goes, kill, and Stallone goes, die. And I thought that was a nice little exchange. But I guess if you're a hardcore Stallone fan, you want to see an earlier performance by Stallone, he's okay. He's the best actor in the movie, because the rest of the actors fucking suck. There's this guy with a mustache that should go back to the car dealership to work at. There's the one who plays the Black Bomber. She has this heavy, I don't know, Jamaican accent, whatever the hell it was supposed to be. I thought she was terrible. The girl who played the love interest of Sly, she was decent. Starts out with this text with a blue background about anti-war protesters, and how folks dropped out of college, and there's this underground movement to destroy the corporate war machine. And then Sly's feeding horses. It's October 1969, and it's the opening of First Blood, Only Shitty, and him on the road walking with a floppy hat, picked up by this van, and there's this girl who is into jewelry and sells it. And they're both going to New York. It cuts in black and white footage of folks singing "Don't Give a Damn, Next Stop Vietnam," where the hell the song was. And then they cut in real Vietnam footage, which I did not care for. I did not care to see real people dying or real Vietnam footage. I know this was this late 60s, early 70s movie. I understand that, but I don't know. I just didn't care for it. Maybe if it was a good movie, I'd bypass it, but it's another thing I didn't care for. And they do this annoying fucking thing where once in a while when a character pops up, it types up. You're a typewriter. And it types up their name, I think their age, and their occupation of each of these characters. They don't do it for Stallone, but they do it for this woman who was a waitress and other people. And it's annoying because it stops the movie and then slowly types it up. Thought it was really irritating. Yeah, make the movie fucking longer than it has to be. And then like these random people have this conversation about fucking hamburgers and how many hamburgers are sold. I'm like, who the fuck are these people? You never see them again. Why the fuck are we listening to this bullshit about how many hamburgers are sold? You made me want to go to McDonald's and get a hamburger. Maybe that's your point, but anyway, this other woman who's a waitress, she gets a phone call, and this guy who has a mustache, he's the taxi driver. We know this from the text that gets typed up. They all meet up. Yeah, this other guy who's pissed off, saying, well, no more black blood will be lost. Because he's the black guy of the group. So you have him, the mustache guy, the waitress guy, and Stallone. And then this woman is going to arrive there who is the quote, black bomber. Stallone stays with the waitress, who walks up to him as if something's going to happen. Then it cuts away. Then the next shot is another day where they're looking at a skyscraper in New York. Once in a while, this film cuts to this FBI anti-terrorist squad that honestly none of them are interesting. You know nothing about them. There's no development of them. There's no charisma or presence to them. It's just filler. Wasted fucking filler. And they mention exposition as well. That's what it is, exposition. About Marlena, aka the Black Bomber. And they talk about how they're doing this because they're making animal cages for people. I thought they said tiger cages, but it might have just been animal cages. The waitress says she'll deliver the bomb alone. Stallone, this other guy, going to steal contracts that show these animal cages being built for overseas and domestic usage onto people. Which seems like a big plot point that would be for, an action movie or anything, but that plot point really goes nowhere. The animal cages. Just sort of dropped and forgotten. Never really brought much up again. They steal the contracts to make copies. The mustache guy knows Marlena the bomber. Like they have some type of flirt relationship. Stallone flirts with the girl in the country while it shows the others making the bomb. She tells Stallone, let me open your eyes, let me show you the world. They kiss, and she tells about how only love can bring change. And he says, well, you're ignoring everything. And this whole time, Stallone's wearing a poncho, which is weird. Weird seeing Stallone in a poncho. And this dialogue that's... Again, the one bit I like is when Stallone's saying, you're ignoring the problem. God and love's not going to change anything. You have to do it for yourself. You lie, you cheat, you rip it off, you break it. You break it off. And then again, she's like, oh, and kill? And I like Stallone's delivery when he goes, die. Like, die for your cause. I thought that bit was a nice little exchange. And the meanwhile, FBI is listening to the group, and the waitress is dancing in her underwear in front of Stallone, which goes nowhere. Except this awkward scene later where the waitress is telling the story about, I guess she had a miscarriage, and how the baby she put in a milk bottle and carried it everywhere for a week. I'm like, is this going to turn into a horror movie? Is like she's going to be a psycho and start killing people one by one, or maybe it's a weird sequel to It's Alive where the babies don't come alive and kill people, which that would be a better movie. It'd be a hell of a twist, and then Stallone has to stop the killer baby that was miscarriage, and I want to see that movie instead. Stallone and It's Alive, any of them. I know there's like 3 movies and a remake. But it's just this weird story that it's like, why the fuck is this story in the movie? I guess to show some development of this waitress, but it's just awkward and weird and creepy. That seems like something that would be in a horror movie, that conversation. Like, what the fuck? The reason I did that so long is because my brain literally had to dial his computer and go, does this really compute? That's what the fuck I just listened to for a couple minutes. Then Stallone, all he says about that is, we're having a big deal tomorrow. And it cuts to black, and then the waitress gurgles and cries. Like, what the fuck? Stallone doesn't even say, oh, I'm really sorry that happened to you, or, oh man, that really sucks, or, like, there's no, what was the point of the story? And then it just Stallone saying, we got some business. Cuts to black, and then you hear her cry. And it's, what? And then it shows him setting up. The waitress takes the bomb to the office, but she accidentally doesn't get to the elevator in time. So she tries to stop the bomb before it blows up, but when she opens it, it's just paper cups. They've been set up. Because the guy with the mustache, he's the mole. He's the one who's working with the FBI and such. The waitress gets chased to a roof, and she jumps off the roof and dies. And the Marlena tells Sly to get out of there. Sly runs for it, goes back to the country in his car, and I guess the real bomb is in Stallone's car, but he didn't, I guess no one realized it. Which I'm thinking, why? Like, okay, I guess what happened was the mustache guy switched it so that he gave the waitress just a box with paper cups in it, not a bomb. But why didn't you disarm the real bomb too? Why did you leave the real bomb in Sly Stallone's car? Or did Sly Stallone have the bomb and had it in the car? Like, how did the bomb get in Sly Stallone's car? Why is it in Sly Stallone's car? Why would the guy who's a mole who switched the boxes, why would he not have disarmed that bomb or gotten rid of the bomb or done something to it? Not put in a fucking car for anyone to get in, let alone Stallone. So I didn't understand that bit. I'm guessing Stallone doesn't know there's a bomb in it. I don't think I would be driving with a fucking bomb in my car. I would find a bridge, throw it over into the water. So it seems like the way the movie plays out, it seems like he doesn't know there's a bomb in there. I know, why the fuck is the bomb in there in the first place? So he gets out of his car. He's looking for the girl. The girl's and a van comes up. They've gotten home, and the girl sees Sly's car. She smiles and looks through it, sees his package, seems like a present. She smiles. It cuts away to Stallone. You hear an explosion. It cuts back. There's a pile of smoke. No body, nothing, just a pile of smoke. And a group of people that she was with crying, looking at the smoke. And then that's when Sly sort of gets the idea, and he sort of crawls into a little ball and cries. And Stallone's doing the best that he can. It's a little rough around the edges, but he's doing the best that he can in such an early role. I don't blame Stallone for this. I mean, just because he's a little bit rough, he's doing the best he can with this scene. And then you see him running through a field, running, and then freeze frame. And text going about how his character, Jerry Savage, was arrested, but he was acquitted because the FBI guys used entrapment. And now today he teaches political science, and he's married, and he has 2 daughters, and one of the daughters he named after that girl who died. The characters suck. You don't really know any about any. You don't care about the characters. It's slow. It slogs. It feels like it meanders. There's nothing to the direction of the film. The 70s score. There's certain 70s scores I liked. This one just I didn't care about. When it goes to the FBI guys, just worthless filler exposition. The stuff between Stallone and this girl he falls in love with, you get some nice little moments, but altogether, whatever. The other people on his crew don't care for. It just sort of meanders and nothing really comes of it. I don't even remember if Marlena, the bomber, gets arrested or not. It just seems all pointless and slow and boring and tedious, and there's no suspense. It's not an action film, so don't go in for action. There's no chuckles or humor to alleviate any tension, which I guess there's no tension anyway, so it doesn't matter. Just one of those movies you sit and you go, other than a curiosity piece for a Stallone early performance, there's no reason to see this film. Nothing to it. It doesn't say anything about the 70s, doesn't say anything deep. I guess it's trying to say that, political, don't be violent, I guess. Don't make bombs, which is true. Although, what about all this shit about these fucking cages of people being put in these animal cages? But nothing's going to be... Hell, in an action movie, if you did The Specialist 2, with him coming back as a bomber, and he finds people, being put in animal cages, and these people sitting in animal cages, he would be the good guy. You tweet this a couple things, they would be the good guys. And again, the whole animal cage that you put people in, that's completely bypassed. And there's nothing to this fucking movie. Nothing to this film. Boring as shit. So I'll never see this fucking movie again. Thanks for watching my rant on Rebel. I don't even think this film has a DVD release. Maybe it does. But if it doesn't, I'm not fucking surprised. If it does, it's probably one of those cheap-ass dollar DVDs. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not looking it up. I could look it up. It'd take me a minute to look it up. But I don't even care. If it's not on DVD, I'm glad. If it is, that's too bad. It's a waste of fucking space. It's a waste of fucking disc. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you later.